I'd like to call to order the Coatesville Area School District School Board Reorganization Meeting for Tuesday, December 6, 2022. Agenda Item 1B, reading of the mission statement. The mission of the Coatesville Area School District, rich in diversity and committed to excellence, is to create innovative educational experiences which are funded by the taxpayers, supported by the community, delivered by dedicated teachers and administrators to ensure all students will become responsible, contributing global citizens. Agenda Item 1C, advisement. This meeting was called for the reorganization of the school board under the appropriate sections of Article 4 of the School Laws of Pennsylvania as amended. Public notice was given for this meeting in accordance with Act 93 of 1998, Section 1. By notice of the board secretary, board members are advised that all votes shall be regarded as roll call votes. Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Rob Fisher.
Here.
Brandon Roan.
Here.
Harvell Brown.
Here.
Holly Charette.
Can you hear us, Holly?
She's on.
I can call her.
She is definitely here if you want to continue
I
on
will,
with-
thank you.
Hopefully it'll get it figured out.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Here.
Becky Harlan.
Here.
Mary Ann Harris.
Here.
Amelia Mills.
Here.
Jennifer Schott.
She is on as well, right?
No.
No?
Okay, Holly cannot hear us on the phone.
Okay, let's move on with the agenda, and hopefully, before we get to the business items, she'll be with us. At this time, could everybody please stand for a moment of silence and a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Holly can't hear us.
We'll let them know that Holly can't hear.
Hey, John. Holly Suresh can't hear. She's logged in.
So before we begin with the rest of tonight's agenda items, since we do not have a section for deletions, I'm going to refer my colleagues to agenda item 7A, Public School Board Meeting Schedule. And what I'm going to do is this time is I'm going to propose a motion to delete this agenda item, and it will be replaced with a modified agenda item. So I'm making a motion to delete, and then we'll modify as we're modifying the schedule. So I'm looking for a second, please.
Second.
Madam Secretary, could you call the roll, please?
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Holly Charette.
She still can't hear us.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Call Holly again.
Holly Charette.
Yes.
Motion approved.
So at this time, I would like to make a motion to replace agenda item 7A. It will remain the same public school board meeting schedule, but the motion will read as follows. That the Board of School Directors approve the public school board meeting schedule for 2023 as presented with a special board meeting to follow the committee meetings and a new start time for regular board meetings at 6:00 p.m. and advertise the date, time, and place of the meetings in a newspaper of general circulation. So there are two changes from the original motion. One, we're going to add back the special board meeting after the committee meetings, and we are going to change the time of the regular scheduled board meeting from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Carvel Brown.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Holly Charess. Motion approved.
Agenda item 8A, committees. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the committees as follows: Education Committee, Finance Committee, Operations Committee, and Policy Committee. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Holly Charess. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Carvel Brown.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Motion approved.
What's that?
My computer is frozen.
Yeah, you're gonna go.
Here we go. Here we go. What's that? Okay, I'm good. I had it froze for a second. Okay, at this time, we will move on to agenda item 2A, the election of a temporary president. To my colleagues, please be mindful that this is an election of a temporary president who will reside over the nominations and votes for the president, and then we will proceed with votes for the vice president. Recommended motion. First order of business is to elect a temporary president to chair the reorganization meeting. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations for temporary president. And I would like to nominate Mr. Brandon Roan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, then the recommended motion is that the nominations for temporary president be closed. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Andrew Finkbeiner.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Carvel Brown.
Yes.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Holly Charess. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Mr. Roan, all yours from here.
Thank you. Public School Code of 1949 contemplates that the Board of School Directors will elect a temporary president to preside over tonight's reorganization meeting until a new president is elected. The temporary president may also be eligible as a candidate for board president. Therefore, any nomination in his or her favor are appropriate. The temporary president will entertain nominations from the floor for a motion of a board president. At the conclusion of the nomination process, nominations will be declared closed, and a roll call vote will be taken with each board member announcing the name of the candidate of his or her choice for board president. It is appropriate and permissible for a nominee to vote for him or herself. If more than two candidates are nominated and one candidate receives a majority of the vote for board, then the two candidates receiving the highest number of votes will be resubmitted to the board as candidates for board president. A second roll call vote shall be taken with each board member announcing the name of one of the two remaining candidates as his or her choice for board president. A candidate who receives a majority vote of the board shall be declared the president of the Board of School Directors of the Coatesville Area School District and immediately assume the chair for the balance of the reorganization meeting. Upon assuming the chair, the new board president will preside over the nominations for vice president. The nominations and elections process for vice president shall be identical to those followed for board president. So having outlined the school code for nominating a board president, at this time, we will start the nomination process with nominating a board president. And so, to my colleagues, I will,
Mr. Rowe, can you read the, before you actually take the nominations, can you read the reading of the board membership list under 3A?
yes.
Thank you.
Reading of the board membership list. Region 1, Valley Township and City of Coatesville, Harvell L. Brown, Holly Charest, and Mary Ann Harris. Region 2, Cowan and West Brandywine Townships, Rebecca L. Harlan, Brandon J. Roan, and Jennifer Schott. Region 3, East Fallowfield, West Callan, and Salisbury Townships, Modena and South Coatesville. Andrew C. Finkbonner, Robert J. Fisher, and Amelia Mills. Now we will do the nominations, and I will start the nominations, and I will nominate Robert J. Fisher.
I would like to nominate Andrew Finkbonner.
So we have to go back and do a second?
We do,
Or,
sorry.
and then move one way or the other for the next.
Okay.
So do we have a second on?
I second Rob Fisher.
Okay. So we have a second on Mr. Fisher.
Now I say it. I'd like to recommend Andrew Finkbonner.
Do we have a second? Okay. Hearing none. We do not have a second on Mr. Finkbonner. Do we have any other nominations? All right, hearing none. So we have a nomination of Mr. Fisher with a second. Therefore, Madam Secretary, we will move to vote on the nomination that was seconded of Mr. Fisher.
Sure. Rob Fisher,
Robert Fisher.
Brandon Roan,
Robert Fisher.
Harvell Brown, Holly Charest,
She's saying that she can't hear.
I have her here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's just move on.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Robert Fisher.
Becky Harlan,
Rob Fisher.
She got you.
Mary Ann Harris,
Rob Fisher.
Amelia Mills,
Rob Fisher.
Rob Fisher.
We will turn over the meeting to President Fisher.
Okay, we're moving on to Vice President. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rome. Moving on to Agenda Item 6, Election of Officers, Vice President. At this time, I will open up nominations for School Board Vice President, and I would like to nominate Mr. Brandon Rome.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Well, first one was Brandon Rome. Seeing and hearing no other nominations, Madam Secretary, we will call for the vote for the position of Vice President for Mr. Brandon Rome.
Rob Fisher,
Brandon Rome.
Brandon Roan,
Brandon Roan.
Harvell Brown,
Brandon.
Holly Charest,
Brandon.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Brandon Roan.
Becky Harlan,
Brandon Roan.
Mary Ann Harris,
Brandon.
Amelia Mills,
Brandon Roan.
it's Brandon Roan.
You need to let Jennifer in for the waiting room. Moving on to the newly suggested agenda item and motion for a public school board meeting schedule, agenda item 7A. Recommended motion that the Board of School Board Directors approve the public school board meeting schedule for 2023 as presented, with a special board meeting to follow the committee meetings and a new start time for regular board meetings to 6:00 p.m., and advertise the date, time, and place of the meetings in a newspaper of general circulation. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Becky Harlan. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner. Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Holly Charess.
yes,
Mary Ann Harris. Motion approved.
Agenda item 8A, committees. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the committees as follows: Education Committee, Finance Committee, Operations Committee, and Policy Committee. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Any questions? Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Holly Charess. Becky Harlan. Mary Ann Harris. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbeiner. Harvell Brown. Motion approved.
Agenda item 9A, public comment. The board has requested that all persons making comments of public concern to list their name, address, telephone number, and topics on the sheet provided. There is a 3-minute time limit per person. Lori Shannon Bailey.
Good evening. Congratulations, President Fisher. Many of the students that I advocate for have had various experiences. As you know, President Fisher, one particular student has emailed you consistently, and he has gotten no responses. I'm not sure what that means. When you all had your new email address, several students emailed that new email, hoping to get a response from the board. No one is responding. I don't know what that means, but it does not send a good message or a positive message. As board president, I would like to know specifically, is there another way that you want students to communicate with you or with the board? I'm embarrassed for students when they don't get a response. The students that I advocate for have some very, very serious concerns. I encourage them to write to you because you are the board and you have a lot of authority. Again, I am asking for some guidance. Is there another way that they should communicate with you or your designee? Thank you very much.
Ms. Deb Thompson.
Good evening. I am here to ask the board to request that the superintendent cease and desist in showing pictures of students, minors, at public meetings. Those faces are disclosed, whether it's, and it is something to be concerned about if they have guns, but no police officer can take a picture of a minor and expose that picture to the community through the media or any other source. A lot of the community do not understand the weight of a superintendent's certification. To show that in a minority community, for whatever reason that it was being shown, my personal opinion is because we're bringing more police in the school district. A lot of the community don't know that there's probation officers in the school district. And my question to this board is, what are you going to do about it? I've made a number of calls. I found out that that is wrong. If I knew the parents, if I knew who those students were, I would ask them to file an educational misconduct form against you. But since I don't, I'm here tonight to ask you to cease and desist. They are children. Children with problems need help. Our mission statement says that we are making this school district global citizens. We have children that have problems. The school district has extensive abilities to help children. much more than any parent does with their regular insurance. A lot of insurances only give you 30 days or 13 weeks maybe of some type of mental health counseling. These kids need help. And so my hope is that's what's going to happen. I did ask the people that were at Ministers Alliance, that were at the Coatesville City Hall meeting. I understand that was shown to the NACP president. That's a problem. Those faces of those minors should have been covered. If they were, I wouldn't be here tonight to speak about the picture. I also was concerned, I asked what was stated is going to be happening in the district for those children to turn them around. Why are they carrying guns? We have the ability to give them mental health and behavioral management. And as a previous board member, I know that there was a lot of pushback from directors, from principals and all on restorative behavioral management in this district. And we have a tendency to want to expel, to adjudicate, and to throw away. And those throwaway kids will eventually become adults that, guess what, we still pay for. So I'm just hoping that you cease and desist. Thank you.
Madam Bailey, with the point. This time I'll entertain a motion for motion. We will adjourn at 6:38 p.m. I'd like to call to order the Coatesville Area School District School Board meeting for December 6, 2002. Agenda item 1B, reading of the mission statement. The Coatesville Area School District, rich in diversity, committed to excellence, create innovative educational experiences, which are funded by the taxpayer, supported by the community, delivered by dedicated teachers and administrators, to ensure all students will become responsible, contributing citizens. Agenda item 1C, advisement by the President. Board members are advised that all votes shall be regarded as roll call votes. The minutes should also note that public notice was given to this meeting in accordance with Act 93 of 1998. School board meetings shall proceed according to the following. Once again, Madam Secretary, call the roll, please. Here. Here. Here.
Time, we will once again have a moment of silence and a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item 2. At this time, to my colleagues, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda this evening? Additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 3A, approval of the minutes. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the minutes for the November 22nd, 2022 school board meeting, subject to any additions, deletions, modifications, or clarifications. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Arvell Brown.
Yes.
Holly Charisse. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Jennifer Schott. Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Agenda item 4A, public comment on agenda items. The board has requested all persons making comments on agenda items to list their name, address, telephone number, and motion items on the sheet provided. There is a 3-minute limit per person. The board does not take action or discuss items not appearing on the agenda. The board values public comments and wishes to convey that although board members cannot discuss items that are not on the agenda, they listen carefully and appreciate and value input from the public. Ms. Shannon Bailey.
Good evening. Regarding the expulsion, I guess that's still on the agenda. I didn't get a chance to see the agenda before the meeting tonight. But there is new guidance that came out from the United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights. There's a fact sheet that's dated July the 19th of 2020. That fact sheet speaks to a lot of students' violations. Specifically, it says that students must receive an evaluation before they are expelled for 10 or more days. I may be wrong on that, but it is not my intent to get up here and not be truthful. But I am asking Dr. Dunlap for you and your administration to please be mindful that you are intentionally not discriminating against any student with a disability, that you are intentionally following the Department of Education Office of Civil Rights fact sheet, again dated July the 19th. I know for sure that it states that there should be an evaluation before students are expelled. If it's proven or if it's factual that you have indeed suspended students and you have violated this guidance here, I would ask publicly that you would rescind any expulsion or any action that has otherwise violated these students' rights. I have said this over and over again, expulsion is not the answer. You all have publicly talked about the fact that you care about students, and you've had presentations on ways that you're going to discipline students differently. I have not seen that. I echo the comments of my friend Deborah Thompson. We care about these children. We are passionate in our efforts to care for them, even if their parents or guardians do not. We are going to do whatever we need to do, including paying for legal representation to make sure these children are taken care of. We are Coatesville, and we're going to make sure that whatever we need to do, that we take care of these children. And we want to partner with you all. We don't want there to be this division. We don't want there to be this fight. We don't want there to be this group doing this and this group doing that. We don't want that. But we care about children, and we specifically care about children who are suffering and who are just having so many challenges. The school-to-prison pipeline is not the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon Bailey. Moving on to agenda item 5A, executive session. An executive session was held on December 5th, 2022 for legal and personnel reasons. No special reports this evening, so we will move on to agenda item 7A, adoption of consent agenda. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the consent agenda items. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
For this evening, I would like to remove from consent agenda the following agenda items. Under number 8, finance, I would like to remove A, financial statements, B, creation of Director of Technology, C, Human Resources Report, and D, Human Resources Report Addendum. Also, under number 9, Education, I would like to remove from consent agenda Agenda item A, proposed expulsion 10008866. Committee meeting actions considered routine will be enacted under one motion unless removed for separate action upon board request. The purpose of the consolidated motion is to expedite governing board action on all consent items which are not held for discussion. Items that have been held for discussion by the governing board will be enacted upon at the time the item is discussed. Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Holly Charess?
Yes.
Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Jennifer Schott? Andrew Finkbonner?
Yes.
Brandon Roan?
Yes.
Harvell Brown? Amelia Mills?
Yes.
Becky Harlan?
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Chairman Finkbonner, Finance Committee.
Letter A, financial statements. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the financial statements, bills, payables list as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Andrew Finkbonner?
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris?
Yes.
Amelia Mills?
Yes.
Harvell Brown?
Yes.
Becky Harlan?
Yes.
Holly Charess?
Yes.
Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Jennifer Schott? Brandon Roan?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Letter B, creation of Director of Technology. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the creation of one Director of Technology position for the Coast Ferry School District Technology Department as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Andrew Finkbonner?
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris?
Yes.
Brandon Roan?
Yes.
Amelia Mills?
Yes.
Becky Harlan?
Yes.
Holly Charess?
Yes.
Harvell Brown?
Yes.
Jennifer Schott? Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Letter C, Human Resources Report. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the resignations, appointments, new positions, leave of absence, transfers, change of status, and corrections as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Holly Charess?
Yes.
Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Jennifer Schott? Andrew Finkbonner?
Yes.
Harvell Brown?
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris?
Yes.
Amelia Mills?
Yes.
Becky Harlan?
Yes.
Brandon Roan?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Letter D, Human Resources Report Addendum. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the resignations, appointments, new positions, leave of absence, transfers, change of status, and corrections as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Brandon Roan?
Yes.
Becky Harlan?
Yes.
Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner?
Yes.
Jennifer Schott? Mary Ann Harris?
Yes.
Amelia Mills?
Yes.
Harvell Brown?
Yes.
Holly Charess?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Ms. Mills, Education Committee.
Number 9. A, proposed expulsion 10008866. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the proposed expulsion for student 10008866 as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Call for the vote?
Rob Fisher?
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner?
Yes.
Amelia Mills?
No.
Jennifer Schott? Mary Ann Harris?
Yes.
Brandon Roan?
Yes.
Becky Harlan?
Yes.
Holly Charess? Harvell Brown?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Moving on to Agenda Item 12A, Public Comment. The Board has requested all persons making comments of public concern to list their name, address, telephone number, and topics on the sheet provided. There is a 3-minute time limit per person. Deborah Thompson.
Good evening again. I didn't get a chance to look at the minutes, but I'm going to speak on 2 things. One, I understand that the district so far has received $19 million. All of that money has not been spent. I have had experience in this district where we use monies to to pay for salaries that were also in the general, okay, as a means, right, become top-heavy, and that money did not get to the students as they should. So I'm hoping that that money that is still left and that money that is yet to come that has to do with the COVID and helping children is getting to the children and is not going to administrative positions. We worked lean in this district before, and now you're top-heavy, and you got rid of a lot of teachers because you said you couldn't afford it. So if you're finding and able to create new director positions, then we also should be able to add more teachers to the district. I also want to ask, so if I understand correctly, that we brought in Lincoln, we're paying $3 million, and that we're also guaranteed some seats. If that's the case, I'm hoping that in that $3 million is also a guarantee that whether IEP or not, that those children are getting behavioral management and mental health. From what I'm being told is that they have to have an IEP to be able to get those services. Otherwise, if that's not the case, then we're just warehousing students, and all Lincoln Center has become is a new alternative ed program for which we got rid of in this district for the reason of this. Kids were not getting the education that they needed. They were not getting the tools that they needed, so that as children at 16 we may be having a problem, but by the time we're 25 we come to ourselves and we're more mature and we realize, oh, I really don't have a good foundation of education. So I'm hoping that since this board has agreed to Lincoln, the Lincoln Center, that is in there. If it's not, I would like to know why it's not, because we should be in the business of helping children. And as I said earlier, the school district has the tools. We also have the ability to get the funds to help children. And a lot of this assessment, the average parent doesn't know how to do. All they know how to do is love their children. You know, they're clothing them, they're putting a roof over their head, but that's why we have doctors, that's why we have nurses, and that's why we have educators, because a lot of people don't realize that you have the ability and the tools to assess where children are, why are they misbehaving, why are they fearful. So I'm hoping that you're taking that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Lori Shannon Bailey.
Good evening. I wanted to make a comment on the program that you all had at the Bridge Community Center in Coatesville. I think it was on November the 14th. It was a program on guidance counselors, and I believe the registration process was interesting because it required, it had one of those little barcode things. And the only way that one could register, you had to have a cell phone, and you had to stick your camera up to the registration, and that's how you had to register. So I tried to register one of my students that I was advocating for, and I could not. I tried to call Mrs. Messenger, who did the program here for you all, and I left her a message, and she didn't return my phone call, so I couldn't. So I'm asking for consideration for a simpler way to register for the community. You know, technology has gotten very sophisticated, but if there's a way that we can email, I'm not thinking, I mean, I don't think that there was a way that we could have emailed Josh and his program at the church, but we lost out on that program. This student could have benefited from that program, and I don't know if it's too late or not. I haven't heard any follow-up from that program, but I believe every adjudicated or expelled student could benefit from that program, and I mentioned that at the board meeting. The other thing I want to say is manifestation meetings. I have a student who has a false manifestation comment in his IEP. Manifestation meetings are supposed to be held by supposed to be attended by the LEA and the parent. They're supposed to be held within a certain amount of time. There's false information in this student's IEP. I'm concerned about the fact that nothing is being done. My student emailed the board president about this information. Again, you know, we're having some serious problems here, and I'm looking forward to some type of resolution so that we can get students information, true information in their IEP. IEPs or law-binding documents, they need to contain true and accurate information. In this case, if we're not able to get accurate information in the student's IEP, I will simply write a letter saying that the school district does not allow the parent to enforce her rights to put lawful parent concerns in the IEP. This LEA put in an email what the parent could or could not write in the IEP. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon Bailey. Teresa Walker.
Hi, everyone. I am here to speak on two different things. The first, while I appreciate that Mr. Fisher indicated at the last board meeting that more information about the superintendent search would be forthcoming, I would hope that prior to an offer being extended to any potential candidate, that the community would get the chance to meet the candidates. That's been done in the past for other administrative positions via meet and greet, and the community deserves the opportunity to meet the potential candidates and hear about their experience prior to a decision being made. Between surveys, focus groups, and emails, the board sought input from our community, and I hope that that continues. And then on a completely unrelated thing, I just wanted to thank on behalf of the I'm gonna cry, the East Valleyfield PTO. We had 136 spots on our angel tree, and as of Sunday, they were all adopted, which is, we thought was going to be unattainable. I joked that I was gonna pull a Mr. Fisher and tear up. The number of kids was so overwhelming to us initially, but we have had such incredible generosity from our teachers who have given so much and then continue to give more, from the administration building who stepped up in a huge way, from the borough of Modena who continuously gives and gives and gives. All of our friends and neighbors, we had a family from Reeseville who donated, or who took 13 spots for no reason other than kindness. And that was that's the spirit of the holiday, and because of that, we just wanted to say thank you. The support and generosity from our community has been nothing short of miraculous. So, on behalf of all of us, I have more written, but I'm not going to embarrass myself as a human standing in front of you guys and crying. Thank you doesn't seem enough, but thank you.
Teresa, thank you for what you do at that school. Thank you. Agenda item 14, information items. I do have two information items tonight which are related. So I'll start with, I'm proud to announce that this past Saturday, and I believe it was at Chestnut Hill College, the Coatesville Area School District Lego League Middle School team advanced to the state finals by winning the Innovation Project Award. So a special shout out from the board goes to all the team members and their advisors for a job well done. In addition, our Coatesville Area Senior High School Robotics Club will host the first FTC Robotics State Qualifiers here at Coatesville High School in the Coatesville High School Gym on Saturday, December 17th from 11 to 5 p.m. and Sunday, December 18th from 11 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. This is a great opportunity for the district to display our STEM opportunities. And Dr. Dunlap, I think it would be nice, I know we had that group here last year. Once they're finished with their competitions, maybe we can get them back at a upcoming board meeting to share with the board. Are there any other informational items this evening? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
We will adjourn at 7:01 p.m.